Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another Freaky Fast broadcast Wednesday night. We are here once again for the Wicked Racing League. You see it, we are under the lights here at the last great Coliseum for this. Every situation counts 250. This is Carl Pooler up in the booth with Zach Hall, and as always, our always reliable Robert Moyer Jr. up in the production booth, and this is the last race until the championship race next week. Tonight we will decide who the final four will be. Who will we decide the final four will be to race for the championship next week at Charlotte? Zach, this is a very tough track, and already we've gone through qualifying. The drivers are gritting up. What do you think we can expect tonight?
Well, I tell you what, tonight is very interesting, like you brought up, Carl, with that way of being the cutoff race here for our Final Four heading into Charlotte next week. There's a few drivers that need to make up some points, maybe even need to go out there and get a win. So I think the aggression level is going to be high. They have two stages here tonight, but 250 laps is going to take a gladiator to make it through the last great Coliseum here at Bristol.
Well, they have been fighting like gladiators the past couple of weeks. A slew of short tracks, Martinsville, Phoenix, and now Bristol, all to decide who will drive for a championship event, really. And a lot of these drivers, the patience are getting short, the temps are flaring. Been noticing little bits how these drivers have been racing each other, the aggressiveness as it is at an all-time high. But this is our starting grid. TJ Roberts took the pole with a 14.599. Alex Coffey there in second, and Gavin Rogers up to this point with 60% of the poles will finish or will start in this third position. Mason Houseman is in fourth, Dallas Manis in fifth, Blaine Wilson in sixth, Nigel Christensen in seventh, Christopher Norris in eighth, Christian DeRoche in ninth, and rounding up the top 10 will be Adam Buzzio.
In the 11th position, it's the 9 of Chad Bean. 12th is going to go to Johnny Shade, looking to make his way to the round of four. 13th is going to go to Steve T. Cole. 14th is going to be Gregory Shaw on a very good run here lately on these short tracks. 15th is Ryan Harrison. 16th, Mike Thomas. 17th is going to go to Mark Morales. 18th is going to be Tyler Dingler. 19th is going to go to Alexander Light. 20th is going to be Jimmy Kubanek. And rounding out our 21 car field here tonight is the 42 of Sam Dyer, as they're going to be looking to roll off here from the grid. But yeah, Carl, tonight here at Bristol, it's going to be a tough one, no doubt indeed. The only driver that can feel somewhat, probably a little bit of ease is got to be Gavin Rogers, as he's won last week at Phoenix to lock himself in. I think the rest of the field is feeling very at unease and also looking to have to make their way through to that next round, with Adam Buzzio in second. Blaine Wilson and Mason Hossman made it in by points so far, but the four drivers sitting outside of those positions are going to be looking to make up those points to get themselves in to fight for a championship at Charlotte next week.
Definitely, we have Nigel Christensen, Jamie Plord, Alex Coffey, and like you mentioned, Johnny Shade, our super speedway ringer, all looking to edge their way into next week's championship race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But they can't think about that right now. We have a race to get into that race right here in front of our faces, and already the field is getting ready to roll. One lap to go to green. And Zach, this track has been known throughout its history to definitely develop some controversial moments, some controversial moves. I have a feeling we're going to see a little bit of that tonight.
That we very well could. I mean, with what is on the line here tonight at this playoff race, there's a lot to be taken for these drivers, and sometimes the take overweighs the give, and that's when you have those controversial moments, and we could very well see that. I mean, we had a great finish there at Martinsville. It actually was number one there on the Freaky Fast top 5 for finishes, so we could be seeing something similar here tonight.
And I am ready for it. And here we go. The field is ready. We are green flag racing here at the last great Coliseum. 250 laps here at Bristol.
And just like that, TJ Roberts in the 3 machine shot out to the lead here, trying to make something happen as a non-playoff driver here, not making it into that round of 8. He's going to lead lap 1, but he's got plenty of playoff banners right behind him with the yellow banners on the top of the cars.
And that's what makes this playoff format so difficult. You have non-playoff drivers, you have playoff drivers, but all of these drivers are racing for a win, and we are seeing that tonight. So many good drivers here trying to make their way, and we see TJ Roberts already fall a couple of positions to Alex Coffey and Mason Houseman, and I feel, Zach, under this concrete surface, we're going to see this a lot. We're going to see a lot of ebb and flow to this race as the track warms up, as the tires wear. 250 laps, there is a lot that can happen.
There definitely is. And another thing, if this race does, somewhat go longer distance here with the green flag runs, 70 laps here for both of these first two stages, that is going to make tire wear very, very critical here at Bristol. It is a place that can really take a lot of right side damage when it comes to tire wear. If you don't manage that well, you'll be struggling when it comes to the later parts of the run. So I think you'll see some drivers here looking maybe not to go too aggressive at the beginning, but look to maybe pounce as the run comes to him. But you can see Christopher Norris there. He's battling with Gavin Rogers, our only locked-in driver to the Final Four. He'll know he'll be battling for a championship next week. He'll get to see, though, who will be the three joining him.
And he just needs to sit back and let the race come to him. But right now, TJ Roberts falling down to 4th, getting a pass by Blaine Wilson in the 18, and already seeing this track develop a couple of different grooves. A lot of drivers choosing to enter high, come down low as we ride along with the 21 of Adam Buzzio already on the move, passing the 17. Gavin Rogers. Gavin doesn't look like he's in any rush at the moment, but with 6 wins this season, got to trust the car to come to him. And right there, you see in front of him, the cars are just already wiggling just a little bit as some of these drivers take a late apex, start high and go low. And how does that help you with the momentum down the front straightaway, especially when you're trying to pass, Zach?
Yeah, it really does help the momentum. When you turn down from that high side down to the low side, it almost like you're using the banking as a little bit of elevation is such a downhill such run. So it does help. It can wear that right front tire though. You're putting a lot of load, turning that car down the racetrack and loading up that right front. So it is a fast way to turn a lap, but it will not be sustainable over the full distance run. And we'll see who can manage it the best, but there's a few drivers definitely making their moves. Adam Buzzio, we got to credit him there. He's made his way up there, and he's got his teammate Nigel Christensen right here in 8th, as those two sit in the 6th and 8th position. As Christensen's going to need to make up a lot of ground there, as he's one of the first drivers sitting out of that Final Four playoffs here. And Buzzio came in here 2nd in points, so a little bit different agendas for the teammates, but at the same time, we're going to be looking for the most points together.
And, having those teammates at a short track like this in this playoff situation makes it very, very difficult. You never want to end up on the outside looking in. You want to be able to help your teammates, but where is that line? Where do you race for yourself and where do you help your teammates? But right now, Alex Coffey taking the lead for, keeping the lead at least from Mason Houseman. Right now, the top 3 cars you could throw a blanket over. And they are racing really hard as the 18 almost gets to the quarter panel of the 78, but still clean and green as we are on already lap 15. Zach, during practice, they were running sub 14.5 second laps. These laps just scream on by, and already we are seeing it tonight.
That you will. It'll really go by fast if this thing stays green, and the racing's been great so far. And Blaine Wilson, like you said, had that close moment with the 78 Houseman. You'll see that here happen many times tonight where guys will get very close to each other on exit as Houseman's looking to try to make something happen. And, Coffey with the race he had last week at Phoenix, just a few mistakes there that plagued his race. And, oh, look at that contact from the 78. There goes the 7. Reckon as he's going to lock it up there, but he's going to get no contact from anybody else in the field. Luckily, everybody skates by that, but looks like maybe getting a little bit of a helping hand from that 78.
And we are going to see this all night long, Zach. Things happen so quickly at this track. That might have just been maybe let up of the throttle of the 7, but we're going to pull it up here on our freaky fast instant replay, and you see it right there. The 78 gives a little bit of a push to the 7. Nothing serious. In fact, the 78 looked like he might have tried to get out of that, but with, like you mentioned, Zach, during the banking here at the track, it looks like the 78 was just trying to get his momentum back up, and the 7 just got a little out of shape, tried to recover. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much damage from that contact, and really, luckily, the rest of the field was able to go by him as he slides down the inside of the track, and look at that, he comes to a stop. That might hurt his tires, but otherwise unharmed.
Yeah, very lucky to get out of that with no damage. The tires definitely are damaged, so he maybe will elect to not come down here and just try to make his way back through and get to the end of the stage and save as many tires as possible, because tire wear here is very, very strong. Again, like I was saying earlier. And, you know, that incident, looking at it from our replay there, it kind of looked like Hossman got into the bumper in the middle of the corner, like you were bringing up there, Carl. And it really, from that point, the 7 was just really out of the racetrack with getting that initial bump. And look, he could never really regain it. And it actually looked like he was getting that, just not regaining that grip. And it just is what lost it coming off the corner, to where finally the 78 just got another little bit of contact off the exit. It's just one of those chain reaction events, with that first initial bump really being the big cause of it.
And as we've seen throughout this short track stint that we've seen these past 3 races, he's actually really fortunate. We've seen how these drivers, once it gets loose, they overcorrect, end up in one wall or the other. But Alex Coffey doing really well, just keeping it at least just down on the track, not making any contact with the wall or other drivers. So that is great wheelman work by the 7 of Alex Coffey, trying to keep his playoff hopes alive. But now that I'm looking at it, I don't think he's there, just only barely, but no, maybe not. So he's trying to make his way there, the second from the bottom, and using those stage points, it can make him get in there. But right now, looking at it, he's going to need a win to get in.
Yeah, I mean, definitely now that he's got set back here, lost the track position. And you got to look at this too, is where Hossman was 4th coming in here tonight on that cut line in the points. He was racing Alex Coffey to stay in there, and Alex Coffey was 10 points behind him entering the night. So that, you know, right there is definitely, you know, some heavy racing between contenders who need to get into that Final 4, and shows you when push comes to shove, sometimes you get a little bit too much contact, and these cars are already on that much of an edge already that when it does finally get that bump, it just seems like it all just breaks loose from there. So we'll see, can Coffey make his way back through? Because again, like you were bringing up, Carl, at that stage break of lap 70, he needs to try to go up there and get as many points as possible, because right now his competition of Buzzio, Wilson, and Hossman, all of those drivers right now located in the top 5. If they were to score those stage points while Coffey doesn't score any, that would almost put him in a must-win situation, no doubt.
We have that second stage at lap 140, but there's no guarantee being back in the pack. We've seen it these past couple of weeks, Zach. Getting back in the pack, you are susceptible to getting into some other people's scuff-ups. But right now, we're going to see what happens here on lap 22. We're going green again. The field in the hands of the 78 Mason Houseman. And Mason gets a great launch, followed by the 18. But don't look now, the 83, a non-playoff driver, Christopher Norris, moving his way to the top 3. In fact, going side by side with the 18, another playoff contender.
Yeah, definitely here shaking it up a little bit. We've seen non-playoff contenders in these playoffs be very, very strong, and right here 83 has been one of those contenders, as he's going to look down here to the inside of Blaine Wilson, as Hossman is going to try to drive away from these guys, and trying to make that inside lane work is very, very tough. But at the same time, that inside lane usually does help save the tires just a little bit here at Bristol. You're not carrying that same amount of speed. But as you look back here farther throughout the field, here's the 20 of Nigel Christensen trying to work that bottom groove right under the inside of Dallas Manis here off of turn 4, and try to take that position here for 7th, as he is one of the drivers on the outside looking in, needing those stage points.
And he is definitely trying to claw his way back up there. As we look at the 23, Christian DeRoche got caught, kind of kicked out of the playoffs earlier on, and been at least halfway decent in terms of speed at these short tracks, but has some horrible luck getting caught in some other drivers' scuffles, as it were. And he's just trying to have a clean race here at Bristol as he makes the pass on the 51 of Gregory Shaw. As you noted, Zach, doing on a hot streak, really, a couple podiums in a row, but right now, Christopher Shaw really struggling with the handling on this car.
Yeah, it definitely looks like the handling out there for these guys is definitely tough out here tonight. And I will say, as the run goes on, it's only going to get worse for these guys. So they're going to have to be prepared here to manage their stuff if they want to make sure they can hold on to this type of, handling in their race car. But right now, DeRoche is looking to move himself forward. Is right behind him, you got the 51 of Gregory Shaw. He just got overtaken by his teammate Alexander Light. Then you're also going to have Chad Bean along with that 7 of Alex Coffey trying to work his way back up, as he's already up to the 14th position, now taking 13th, and going to be looking to the outside of Greg Shaw here for 12th. He's trying to get back to those stage points, but very close to the wall. Got to be careful there not to get damage here early in this race.
Very careful. There's the Alex Coffey making 2 spots up in a lap on a tear. He looks like he'll take a 3rd from Christian DeRoche here, and that is just magnificent pace here as he is trying to make his way back up from an earlier mistake. But Zach, some of these drivers I was talking to, they kind of want to be able to pace the race and be able to have it come to them, not push it too hard. But how much does that put you in danger from getting caught in some of these wrecks? This is a very high bank track, but very narrow. There's actually not a lot of real estate on this track. A couple of primary lanes. How do you balance wanting to keep your car clean to the end of the race, but at the same time wanting to race for that the stage points or maybe the race win?
It's a difficult position to be in, and definitely is Alex Coffey. I mean, he's got to get himself farther up there. He's 10th right now, so 1 point into that stage points. But as a driver, you got to think about it as, what track am I racing here? You're racing the Bristol Motor Speedway where, again, like you said, Carl, it is very hard to miss anything that happens in front of you. And as a driver, you got to really, plan your stuff out to try to get his best track position as possible to stay out of that mix. So if you're Alex Coffey, I think he's going to continue to try to be pretty aggressive here and get himself farther up this field, because the farther you get up there, the more out of danger you are here in this pack. And man, making 3 wide passes through the middle he did there, as this group is all stacked up there. Johnny Shade on the back of that 20 machine of Christensen, and also got the 3 there. TJ Roberts, our pole setter, who has somewhat, struggled here at the start of this race, dropping back here all the way to the 9th position, and now going to have the 24 Shade on his outside for 10th.
Zach, one thing I notice about Bristol Motor Speedway is the disparity between a fast qualifying lap and a good race car for the race. I've seen, oh, and there goes Blaine Wilson up in the wall, but we've seen how some of these drivers will do a really fast, blazing qualifying lap, but during the race they can't, maybe make that transition to back it down a little bit, to make sure they save those tires, save the car a little bit to the end. And I think we may be seeing that right now with the 3 of TJ Roberts. Right now, the 18 of Blaine Wilson having a struggle. Started in 6th, ending up in 9th. And look at this chaos as we see, another car into the wall there. The 9th of Christensen right behind him. And like you mentioned, the 7 of Alex Coffey making it 3 wide. This is just a absolute chaos. As you see there, the blue and green of 51, Gregory Shaw trying to make everything work, even going down on the apron trying to get that car to turn. This is just some really fantastic racing here in the back half of the pack.
Oh yeah, and there goes the 18 through the middle, the 24 and the 51, both split Blaine Wilson there. What a pass there from those guys. And Wilson struggling here, just to really say the least. I mean, he has been dropping straight backwards, and along with him, just not being able to find the pace here in that 18 machine to stay up there where he qualified. But yellow is out on the racing surface. Unsure who that is for.
Looks like the 69 of Tyler Dangler in the back straightaway with the 1 and the 91 of Martin Morales. The 91 and the 69, all teammates. So definitely curious as to see what happened. We were lucky enough to have the instant replay here on this short track. As you see the 69 Tyler Dangler, he goes into the corner and just gets into the back bumper of his teammate, sends the 91 of Martin Morales into the 18, it looks like. And as everyone was trying to check up, it doesn't look like Tyler Dangler got that memo back into the bumper of his teammate once again, and that's going to cause the whole issue here. And unfortunately, the one of Mike Thomas is just going to get caught in the aftermath. So, unfortunately, the event here on lap 207 to go. So we already have 2 cautions and some drivers making their way to pit road, such as Johnny Shade and Gregory Shaw.
Yeah, this is an interesting call here. These guys are going to be so much faster on these newer tires that it's going to be hard to hold them back. So we'll have to see how that works out. But tough break there for the 91 machine there, as again the 69 got in the back of him there and got him up into Blaine Wilson. And I think those guys weren't expecting that big of a checkup. It really was stacking up there with that 18 machine, really having a tough time, I must say. Is Wilson there, just all of a sudden it seemed like his car just fell off the face of the earth there for a moment. So really could not figure out exactly what was going on there. If that machine definitely was not working out the best for him. But look, as this is all played out here on lap 45 here under his caution, look where Alex Coffey has placed himself. He's already up to the 4th position. He was doing an excellent job working his way through the field here. Now we'll just have to see, how does Gregory Shaw look to make his way through the field. As with him and Johnny Shade hitting pit road here, this is going to be an aggressive strategy. But the strategy here, man, if new tires are just so much faster, I think you're going to see this 51 and maybe this 24 both drive up even to the lead here before this stage ends.
This is going to be fun to watch, as already the strategy is splitting up. Multiple drivers having different approaches to this. Playoff drivers, of course, looking to gain those stage points. But Johnny Shade, one of those playoff drivers on this. He was actually talking in the Discord earlier. He was a little worried. This isn't a plate track. He is our local super speedway ringer, and he was not so confident in this race. So already mixing up the strategy, and we are going to see how it works as he looks to flip the stage. We do seem to be about, I don't know, 24 laps away from that first stage, and this could open the window for those drivers being staying out during the stage and can completely flip this field, and we will have to definitely keep on track of that. And so already the 51-24 at the back, but already looking at the long run, looking at the big picture, trying to get the race, not necessarily the points, as Johnny Shade is on the bubble. He is that number 8 car in this round, so he needs a win to get in. We will see if this pays off.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to watch, man. Here coming to that lap 70 stage. I can't wait to see how it all shakes out for, Shaw and Shade there, as they're going to have a lot of, time to make up in 17th and 16th here, but they got, limited time with how fast the laps do click off. But again, the pace is going to be so much faster for these drivers with the newer tires. I mean, just looking at Mason Halsman, our leader there on that last run, his fastest lap of the run was a 14.83. Right before that caution came out, he ran a 15.84. So that's a full second of fall off here. And at Bristol, only a half-mile speedway. That is a ton of fall off when it comes compared to a mile and a half or such other tracks, with it being 1/3 of the size. So very interesting to see, but this should be fun to watch.
Fun to watch indeed as the 78 launches. Looks like the 83 Christopher Norris on the outside spun his tires. It's going to make that outside line check up, and right now the 78 all alone towards the front. The 83 trying to follow in the tire treads, but the 7 Alex Coffey scraping the wall just a little bit. Alex Coffey extremely fast on that outside line. It looks like he's going to take the second place away from the 83 of Christopher Norris.
And just like that, the 7 back to second place. That is a miraculous rebound here already. I mean, he was at one point out of stage points. Now looking at 9 possible stage points, and he's got to remember who got into the back bumper earlier in this race, the 78 who actually ended up spinning him out. Maybe we might see a little bit of retribution here, but we'll have to see how these two drivers work this out, because these are two drivers fighting to make it into that Final Four. Hausman was on the cut line. Coffey was the outside looking in when it comes to 10 points back from the 78, but now already catching him. Man, this pace in the 7 machine is spectacular here tonight.
And you want to be careful. There is the championship race next week. You can't make too many enemies. If you're going for that championship, like the 7 and the 78 are, you can't make enemies right now. I honestly think it was an honest mistake between the 78 not quite anticipating the lift of the 7. And right now, the 7 takes the lead from Mason Halsman, but scrapes the wall again. Zach, we have been talking about it all season long, the durability of these machines, running and bouncing off that wall. How long will these cars make that last? How long will they stand that tout before it becomes an issue?
Well, before with the older, damaged models on here on iRacing with this next-gen car, you probably could get away with it a good portion unless you really just fully committed and hit that wall pretty hard. Here with this car now, with the fatigue model they brought in, where as you get into that wall more and more, it starts to damage that car, and the fatigue builds up and the damage will start to really show its face. So if you get in that wall 3, 4, 5 times, that 5th time, it's going to be worse than that first time getting in the wall, as the damage model here, it really is all about the strength of that right side, and the right side could be easily damaged here at the wall here, as multiple hits are usual to happen. But look at this, as Coffey's got to the lead. He's moved away from the wall, and I like what he's doing. He's moved to this middle line. Ooh, close to the wall there on exit, but definitely using a little bit less racetrack and giving himself a little bit more room on the exits.
Now the 7 and the 78 in a league of their own, just kind of separating themselves from the rest of the field with the 3 behind them. This is really interesting to see, just this kind of breakaway. The 83 and the 17 also trying to get there. And there is a caution. Again, it looks like the 96 is going to take a spin, and we will have to see how that turned out. But definitely an interesting course of events, as we are 10 laps away from the stage, Zach. Do you pit now, or do you take those stage points and keep that track position?
Well, that's a risky gamble for sure. I think some drivers will be electing to do that, but I think if you're someone like Alex Coffey, Mason Hossman, you're going to be looking to stay out here and save that set of tires here for later. But here we go. Instant replay here from that last caution. It looks like the 91 of Morales, who's involved in the last caution, gets a little bit loose coming off of 4 down into the inside of the 96, just right rearing him straight headfirst in the wall. And look who just missed that. It was Johnny Shade in the 24 who pitted. Luckily for him, he does just get right by that. But ooh, heavy collision with the rear end there. And that 96 machine is, he will be looking to get that thing fixed up here, as they do have one fast repair again here at the Wicked Racing League. So if you do get terminal damage, you can get that all fixed up.
Well, and you mentioned the 24 Johnny Shade there, Zach. About 5-7 laps ago, he had a self spin. Didn't bring out the caution, but fell a lap down. This caution will allow him to get back on the lead lap. We noted he was aggressive with that strategy and might have blown it with that self spin. With the caution, he comes back on the lead lap again in the fight for the championship. So Johnny Shade has an uphill battle, but the race is not over, as we still have 189 laps to go tonight.
Yeah, still plenty of time to make up everything that has been lost here in this first stage for these drivers. But yeah, the Bristol Motor Speedway, it can pile on to you, man. That's the biggest thing, is one mistake can lead to another, and then from there, it's very tough to make up anything from there, as it looks like only one driver so far I've seen hit pit road, and that is the 96 of Steve T. Cole after being involved in that incident. So he'll bring it on down here to pit road, looking to get that service and damage fixed up on his machine. But this should be interesting. We'll have Alex Coffey in the lead now, with Halsman, Rogers, and Roberts making his way back up the fourth, getting past Christopher Norris in this top 5. And then the new tires of Gregory Shaw up to 7th here. He's going to have a better shot here now as this field is grouped back up. He should have the advantage on these tires. Let's see if he can go up here and steal some stage points from some playoff drivers.
And that is going to be the big headline of tonight, is all these non-playoff drivers looking for a win, looking to make a name for themselves. They might have missed the playoffs, either bad luck or they got here late. This league is still a solid foundation, still forming, getting drivers kind of halfway through the season, but doing really well in that driver retention. And right now, the 51 of Gregory Shaw trying to kind of put his name out there, saying, hey, I may not be here this season, but next season I'm going to come back with a vengeance. And we may be seeing that from that 51 with a couple of podium finishes so far these last couple of races.
That very well. I mean, that's a build-up for next season, and that's the big thing. You know, you can build up a lot of good energy and a lot of good momentum heading into the next season, and you never know, that he could be a driver fighting for that Final Four here very soon. So you know what? We'll see how it works out for him here. The new tires are going to give him a huge advantage. He should have a good bit of speed. Very limited time now with us going green here with only 6 laps to go. But, man, it's going to be a fun show to watch.
And fun show indeed, ladies and gentlemen. You won't miss the thing, as we are 1 lap to go. In fact, 1 corner to go. We see the lights off on the pace car. He's going to make the hard left turn. The field is in the hands of Alex Coffey, who chose to take that outside line. And he is away from the 78, trying to make his way through 1 and 2. In the 78 below on the inside line, TJ Roberts trying to follow in the tire tracks, and everyone else following suit.
That they are, as Coffey shoots out like a cannon here, as it's going to be 5 laps to go here in stage number 1. Gregory Shaw still trying to make up any type of ground he can, as he's working his way past Christopher Norris in the 83 now to his inside. We'll see, can he look to make his way forward, as those new tires are just such a big advantage, but having a little bit of a tough time. That 83 is fighting them hard here, as we've seen those two have plenty of fights so far this season. As there goes the 51. You can just see the difference. The new tires are so critical here, but I don't think he'll have enough time here, as they're going to be coming to 3 to go, as now he's going to break into the top 5.
And we see the 51 on the rim, lower rim of this track, as he makes the pass around the 45 of Dallas Manis, taking that 4th position, setting his sights on the 3 of TJ Roberts and Mason Hausman. And look at that, just the closing rate here. He is just doing a really fantastic job keeping it just away from everyone. He's not really trying to side draft or anything like that, just keeping his own line, running his own race. But Mason Hausman in the wall in turn 3 and 4, but 7 of Alex Coffey running away with the 6 cents of the second lead. But that has been cut in half in the corner. And Zach, just like that, Bristol Motor Speedway, you can lose a substantial lead.
That you can. Here to come off a 4, coming to the end of the stage, and it's going to be Alex Coffey with the win. Greg Shaw's going to get second there. That's a great ending, but man, Shaw coming so close, but that's so critical because also Alex Coffey now going to have the advantage when it comes to those stage points over the rest of his playoff contenders. As there comes the pace car drifting its way around turn 3 and 4, doing its best act there. That was definitely interesting to see, but that was a great stage ended there as Alex Coffey was able to get that victory. Greg Shaw is going to bring it home in the 2nd position. 3rd is going to be Mason Hossman. 4th is going to go to TJ Roberts. 5th is going to be Dallas Manis. 6th is going to be Martin Morales. 7th is going to go to Gavin Rogers. 8th is Adam Buzzio. 9th is Alexander Light. And rounding our top 10 is Christopher Norris, as that is the end of your stage. And with that, folks, we're going to head to our first commercial break of the night here as we step side by side here with the Wicked Racing League. You won't miss a thing, as we'll be right back here in the next few moments.
Just like that, race fans, we are back. You haven't missed the moment being side by side. Saw the restart. The 78 of Housen and the 7 of Alex Coffey shooting out like a rocket with these new tires. Gregory Shaw on an alternate strategy, trying to make it work, holding a solid in third, trying to hold off the 17 to Gavin Rogers, which hasn't showing his speed like we're used to seeing. 60% of the pole sitters, 6 race wins this season. 17 sitting there solidly in 4th position, but the 3 of TJ Roberts looking to take that position away. Zach, we have a different, perception of this race now, as some of these drivers are trying alternate strategies to get those points and possibly get that race win.
No doubt. It's definitely alternate strategies all around here on this racetrack, as we're 85 laps into this 250 lap event. And we've learned a good portion so far, showing that new tires, if you take them, they were very, very fast as they get right through the field, as Gregory Shaw is putting on a show, going all the way up to that 2nd position, just coming up short of a stage win. But man, also it shows that the 7 of Coffey, I mean, he had to work his way all the way back through the field. He has been so impressive. So I'm going to be interested to see this longer run, if he could keep some track position and see how well it works out for him there. But you see Adam Buzzio on screen, the 21. He's back in the 6th position here, as he's been able to claw his way forward, as he seemed to have a little bit of struggle as the run fell away from him. But luckily for Buzzio, he came in here with a pretty good position when it came to points-wise. He was about 15 points to the good, got some stage points. He's going to be looking to hold on for the rest of this race to make his way into that top 4 and fight for a championship at Charlotte next week.
And so far as the race has gone on, that first stage has been dominated by the 7 and the 78. Despite the wreck of the 7, we have definitely seen those 2 cars kind of set their own little pace, as the rest of the field struggles to catch up. And right now, between the 7 and the 51, the 2nd and 3rd place cars, there's about 2-second gap. And then you see the rest of the field is right now watching the 45 of Dallas Manis use that high line. And oh, look at that. Almost 3 wide, the 05, the 83, and I think that's the 3 of TJ Roberts trying to make it all work out. But it looks like all of the rest of the field is trying to do everything they can to catch up to our 2 front leaders. And right now, only falling further and further behind.
Yeah, falling a little bit further and further behind, but Gregory Shaw there having a little bit of a moment there, coming off of that last corner, as they're going to look to his outside here as Adam Buzzio in that 21, along with Dallas Manis there in the 45, going to look to go around the outside. Luckily for Shaw, he does have his teammate Light there behind him, but it looks like it's going to cause a little bit of a stack up with that 51, struggling on them older tires here, as it's going to really check it up right in the center, and almost into the back bumper was Alexander Light. And he did a great job to get that car slowed down, because that could have been detrimental for both those teammates.
Oh, definitely. Looks like the 51 and the 83 took fuel only, with a 4.9 second pit stop for the 83 and a 5.1 for the 51. So already a bold strategy, trying to preserve a set of tires for the both of them. And right now, really struggling to keep those cars on the track, as right now we're seeing the 83 sitting there pretty solid in that 6th position, with the 05 of Alexander Light right behind him, but the 45 of Dallas Manis trying to make the pass on the outside. And already, Zach, not only have we seen different strategies, but different lines work for different drivers. Oh, it looks like the 05 gets into the bumper of the 83. We can see a little bit of confrontation there, but so far, so good.
Yeah, a little bit of confrontation for sure, is luckily for Johnny Shade here in that 24 machine. They've all been very safe and sound back here, as he's got Chad Bean in the 9 all over the back bumper of him. They're coming up on Greg Shaw there in that 51, who, again, those tires trying to make them last, but it just shows any little difference in the tires, it really is tough to hold on to that machine. But here comes Christensen. Look at his big run, the 20 machine. He's going to need a good finish to the rest of this race. Wasn't able to get those stage points there in the last stage, so he'll be looking to move his way forward, as Ryan Harrison in the 13th directly behind him here, as this is right here from the 14th position on 4.
And 13 of Ryan Harrison, the last car on the lead lap, trying to stick with this lead lap pack. And right now we have about, I guess, essentially 3 different packs. We have the top 2 cars separated by about 9/10, the 78 and the 7. Then the second pack of 5 cars between the 17 and the 3 of TJ Roberts. And then this 4th pack from the 24 of Johnny Shade all the way down to the 20 of Nigel Christensen. These guys, all these drivers are racing different packs at the moment, not trying to push too hard. But man, is the 78 laying down some really, really fast lap times right now, running about 15.5-second lap times. But Alex Coffey running 0.2 faster, trying to make the pass on the lead. Already made up about half a second on this last couple of laps, looking to get those 10 stage points coming here in about 39 laps.
Yeah, and if he could do that, that would be 20 bonus points to put in his back pocket here from just the stages, and that's not included every other bonus point these drivers can go out there and get. Is Bean up into the wall there in the 9 machine as he's going to look to hold on to that machine, but can confirm Alex Coffey out front. He makes the pass in the 7 machine past the 78, and he is out clear to the lead, as that'll be interesting to see how the 7 can set sail from here. But they've definitely opened up a lot of different packs here, Carl. I think that was a great point you brought up, and it's almost looking like someone in the super speedway with how many packs are forming.
And it is kind of crazy, not only are the packs forming, but the different lines. So many drivers preferring either the top line, the low line, making it work. And we're, with the track so fast, with the track so short, we're seeing the discrepancy between each line, who likes to run which, the tire wear, already the strategy we've hit on quite a bit between the 51 and the 24, and a lot of these drivers trying to figure out what works. And we still have one stage to go, but the way these laps click off of this half-mile coliseum, as it were, it's really difficult to kind of get a handle on it, as the 7 is trying to negotiate his way through all of this lap traffic.
That it really is, man. This is a lot of lap traffic to negotiate through, and this is where things could get a little bit mixy, as they would say. So we'll see how he elects to do it. But oh man, here he comes up on the back of Chad Bean and Tyler Dingler. He's looking for anything, but he gets up into the wall, not trying to get into the back of the 9. And this is where that lap traffic can be tough. You got to pick and choose the right lane. Unfortunately for Coffey that time, up into the wall, just didn't pick the right lane, but now able to get past Bean. They'll be looking to set his sights on Harrison and then Tyler Dingler from there. So we'll see how the 7 can make this work, but tough break there. Him getting into the wall. We've seen that a few times here tonight, but luckily, again, this next-gen car, it's so resilient on the right sides of these cars that you really just don't take too much damage. As long as you don't break nothing suspension-wise when it comes to the wheels hitting the wall, you should be in a good position.
And riding along with Alex Coffey, we have, I've noted it a little bit earlier, a couple laps ago, they were running about 15.5-second laps. With this lap traffic, they are running anywhere between 3 to 6 tenths lower lap times, and that just really mixes up how you want to run the track, run your competitors. And on top of that, you also have to keep in mind the car behind you. He's racing for position. He's racing against the 78 of Mason Houseman, trying to get those stage points coming up here in about 29 laps. And he just can only try and keep his car clean through the corner. And Gavin Rogers on the 17 in 3rd position, not quite having the speed we're used to seeing from Gavin, but already keeping it really clean in the podium position, trying to claw his way back up to that 2nd position as he makes his way around the 13 of Ryan Harrison. Right now, our top 3 are separated by 3 seconds, and Alex Coffey, once he got the lead, is starting to run away with it.
Yeah, and I tell you, I love this shot here. You get to see on the top of the hood or the roof of these cars here. It shows you really how much banking is at on this track. And we saw the gyro cam too. When you come here, it's almost inevitable to not lean your head. I mean, I know in past driving here, almost every single corner, just because the banking is so high here, it's so banked, you just lean your head because you feel like you're in the track. And man, I can only imagine actually driving a real lap around this place here in real life. It was probably a spectacular moment, and even I know some drivers say it's hard to actually breathe when you're going around this track because it's just so fast and things come at you so fast. And that's what this shot right here, this gyro cam, really gives you. Just shows you how fast things happen. As Buzzio, he's going to have some lookers here as the 3 of Roberts there makes the clean pass on the bottom, moves his way forward, and Roberts has been one to save his own. He gets up into Kubanek there, and that's 77 who's 2 laps down, but luckily no major contact as they make it by each other.
You know, Zach, I've heard drivers talk about this track, and what they'll do is they'll take a breath during the straightaway, and as we ride along with Buzz, hold your breath through the corner as you so much banking, so much speed, and then as the corner balances out into the straightaway again, you take a breath, and then once again, hold it, and just like that, that's a lap around Bristol Motor Speedway as Buzzio under attack by the 05 of Christopher Light. Christopher Light under attack as well, possibly going a lap down, trying to hold off the 18 of Blaine Wilson, all of these drivers, you see those yellow banners, those 21 and the 18 are teammates. And so we mentioned it earlier, you want to try and lead your teammate room, but also forward your own way through the playoffs in this championship race. And we are seeing it live action here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
That we are, man. And I tell you, this stage here clicking off away so fast. We are under 20 laps to go already in the stage, looking for lap 140. And the interesting thing, I mean, we have got people lapped all the way up to the 8th position. Christopher Norris very soon going to be looking to go a lap down, but it just shows you if you cannot manage your stuff here well, you quickly go a lap down when these laps go green. And just Alex Coffey with the pace he's had here tonight, it has been untouchable in that 7 machines. You can see right here Morales and also Norris here stacking up as old Morales is already 1 lap down, comes across the nose of the 83, spins across the racetrack, and that will most likely bring out a caution. Not yet, though, as he's parked on that inside of the banking. He might be able to get it going as we stay green here, and he does get that thing back going, and we're going to stay green.
And that was contact between teammates once again, and that just goes to show how compact this track can get. It's so difficult to maneuver, either being the passee or the passer. It's so hard and difficult to make sure everything goes according to plans. We see the 91 on pit road trying to get service. But right now, the 20 of Nigel Christensen, a lap down, one of those playoff hopefuls, but struggling here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
That he really is, man. I tell you, this is getting interesting. As the stack up there, shade into the back of the 20. He gets sliding into the corner. This is going to be a caution now. Hausman also involved in it. And it just shows you here, this lap traffic, things can happen fast here at Bristol. And just like that, you're caught up in an incident.
And once again, it just kind of a blink of an eye and things are happening, and that's just the chaos of trying to maneuver through this lap traffic. The 78 in the 2nd place, trying to maintain his position, and just like that gets caught up in something that wasn't even his fault. And right here on lap 127, bringing out the 4th caution for incident today.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate. Hausman going to catch a little bit of damage from that as it was contact between 2 lappers there getting involved. And man, oh man, that's the good thing for Hausman is luckily this next gen car, again, it proves to be so tough and so resilient. Even with that front end hit, it doesn't seem like too much damage from that race car. And luckily for him, this will bring everybody most likely in a situation where they may hit pit road here, and it could get a little bit spicy with different style strategies. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. Coffey is going to have the first chance to elect to go down. We'll see, does he hit pit road this time, or does he elect to stay out? Looks like the 7 has made his call. He's going to stay on the racetrack. Looks like behind him a few guys that are lapped down are going to come to pit road. And I like this call because you know what? You're lapped down. Might as well come down, get your tires now, and then when everybody else pits later, hopefully on the lead lap, maybe you could get the wave around taken from there. You're just going to have to try to manage your stuff, though, because we've seen already a little difference in tires. You can quickly go a lap down.
And with 12 laps to go in the stage, we'll probably go green with less than 10 laps. We see these drivers use this strategy, maybe take the waiver run at the stage end. They all know it's coming on lap 140, but these lead lap cars definitely trying to make their way and maneuver through the lap cars. And just like that, you can see having an issue in the 78, not wanting to have contact. You mentioned it, Zach. This car is very resilient to damage, but on top of that, we're here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Aero does not mean nearly as much as an aero, mile and a half or a super speedway. We've seen cars here without front bumpers, without fenders, actually still be able to compete as long as they have the speed. So we will have to see how some of these drivers make their way through with a little bit of damage.
It definitely will be interesting. Bristol definitely still a mile and a half, still lower speeds than most, but I will say it still has a little bit of aerodynamic effect. Especially in this next gen car, it's a little bit more stuck to the track, a little bit more dependent on that rear aero diffuser. If you get damaged that front splitter just a little bit, it can affect that air that flows underneath the car. So it can have a little bit of effect, but definitely nothing too major here as you're at this half-mile racetrack. A little bit different than Martinsville where it would be really no effect. So still somewhat of an effect, but nothing like you would see at a mile and a half or a track at much higher speed. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But man, what a crazy run there. I mean, Alex Coffey so far, what he's shown us tonight has been super impressive.
Super impressive indeed. Been able to recover from an incident between himself and the 78 recover, gain the lap, really the lead here for this race. And already we are 10 laps. We're going to go green with 9 laps to go in this stage. And we see a lot of cars right now, only 8 cars on the lead lap. The Christopher Norris in the 83 being that last car on the lead lap, but we see the pace car take his hard left turn onto pit road, and there it is, the 7 already out and about on the outside line of this track, and we are green flag racing once again at Bristol.
That we are back green here quickly, as it's going to be Coffee shot out of the cannon once again here in that 7 machine as he comes off of turn 2 with a giant lead over Hossman, who's going to be looking to hold back Dallas Menace. We also got Alexander Light up in 4th, Gavin Rogers in 5th, but oh, the 91! It seems like Martin Morales' night just keeps getting worse as he gets sent around here in this machine, as it's going to bring out another quick caution. That's not going to be the end to our stage either.
It is not. We're going to have about another 3 or 4 laps of pacing, and we're going to be able to go green to both about 3 or 4 laps left in this stage. And like you said, Zach, the 91 of Martin Morales cannot get a handle on this car. Granted, it hasn't been all his fault, but definitely struggling as he tries to race his way through this pack. Some of the drivers definitely losing the memo on give and take, but it's a playoff race and everyone's racing for playoff points, stage points, the race win. There's so many different things going on a per driver basis, but we'll see what happens on the strategy, Zach, with right now 6 laps coming on 5 laps to go on the stage. Do you sacrifice the stage points, maybe not being Alex Coffey, as he's kind of on the outside looking in, but Mason Houseman is on the 4th position? Maybe take a gamble, get some tires, stay out during the stage. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah, it's a tough call. It's really tough to make. I think for Hossman, I think he likes to stay out here just because he wants to get that 2nd place position. He wants as many points as possible here to help him move on to that next round. He knows he's got Adam Buzzio also back there in 7th, who, you know, is in a position similar to him. So those two really, I think, really looking for those stage points. The driver that's having the toughest night that was up in the top 4 already was Blaine Wilson. Back in 15th, 3 laps down, he'll head to pit road. Also, you're going to have Adam Buzzio on pit road, along with, it looks like everybody pretty much, the 7. It looks like maybe the 7, yeah, the 78 also. It looks, yeah, pretty much every single car except for, I believe, Christopher Norris. He's going to be the only one not to come down, and that's an interesting call to be made there for him also.
And that is going to bring everyone in a different position. Especially a lot of the 1 lap down cars. We're hoping to get that wave around. But if Christopher Norris did stay out, that is going to restrict that and not allow those cars to get that wave around. So once again, strategy really becoming an issue here at Bristol Motor Speedway in the penultimate race of the season. We see all these drivers, or at least 8 of these drivers, try to make their way to the championship 4 in just a mixed bag of strategy. I don't know about you, Zach, but I'm struggling to keep up. And just like that, we have a little bit of a cluster on pit, or on the race surface, as we see some of these drivers go about 3 or 4 wide. Maybe a cornering effect, seeing how everything kind of gets itself situated. And right now, we see the 24, the 20, the 83 still on pit road. But yeah, definitely right now, Christopher Norris in control of this field at the moment, Zach. And that is going to put a hindrance on a lot of these drivers' wave arounds.
That it will. It's going to stop a lot of people from getting a wave around. Luckily, there's a few people ahead of him that will still get that wave because of being ahead of that 83. So there's going to be a good portion of the field who does get a wave, but there'll be a few guys that definitely don't. So that'll be unfortunate for them. But this restart is going to be very, very interesting to say the least, because Christopher Norris, he has got a bunch of hungry playoff drivers looking to get as many points as possible, and he is on very, very old tires here. He just needs to think about surviving, if anything. This is going to be a wild restart, folks. You're not going to want to miss this one, because I can tell you right now, it's going to be every man for himself.
And it is going to be a sprint to the finish of this stage. We're going to go green with 3 laps to go, and Christopher Norris with a clean restart gets up into the top line, cuts off the line of Alex Coffey, goes drifts down to the inside lane, and he is off and away. But Alex Coffey with those new tires, not looking to take any prisoners. He is looking for that stage win, those 20 extra bonus points from winning the first stage and the second stage. But the 83 blocks him, cuts him off on the inside line. Gavin Rogers looking to take that second position away from Alex Coffey, but right now the 83 still leading.
Somehow still hanging on to it, and man, as they cross the line there, that should be the stage, and Christopher Norris will win that stage. What an impressive job from him. I was very surprised to see that car hang on like that. But man, like just like that, he's going to win the stage. Alex Coffey, he's going to get second. Gavin Rogers, third. Mason Hossman, he's going to be in that fourth position. Fifth is going to go to Alexander Light. Sixth is going to be Dallas Manis. Seventh is going to go to Adam Muzzy. Greg Shaw's going to be seventh. Eighth is going to go to TJ Roberts. Ninth is Ryan Harrison. Chad Bean's going to bring it home in the 10th position, as there was a few drivers who had a few hiccups there on that start. But we're going to get to see it all side by side here as we're going to step away for our second commercial break. We'll be right back, folks.
Drivers, start your engines! 4, 3, 2, 1, green screen. I have no right grip whatsoever. I'm sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man. Do what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again. Following, they're wrecking, they're splitting, and it's a complete mayhem.
We have a wreck at the front. 19 goes down into the 7, takes out the 00.
They're 5 wide behind for 5th. Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work, is it? They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through that of turn 2. This is it, the Daytona. Oh no, they're wrecking contact. Sets gets into the wall, gonna be scattering on the outside. Drivers on the apron, drivers coming out of nowhere. Edison on the outside, trying to get the win, and it's William Edison stealing it at the line.
Into the wall. The 18 trying to block. 77 to get into the 18. That leaves 3 of TJ Roberts. 17 to Gavin Rogers. 3 of TJ Roberts is gonna steal the win here.
What second fiddle so many times last season, Christopher Wade wins the season 5 Daytona 200.
And we are back, race fans. You haven't missed a moment side by side. We see the 7 trying to take the lead from the 83 with those 3-lap pressure tires. And look at that, he makes it look easy as the 78 tries to do the same thing as the 83 stays to the bottom line. But don't look now, Gavin Rogers with 6 wins on the season, sitting there in 4th position, looking to make it 7. As we are all done with the stages, we have 102 laps of racing to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
And such important racing also here is, like you said, with 100 to go. This is going to decide your championship 4 drivers. It's going to be so interesting to see who those 4 are when we enter Charlotte next week. If one of these drivers goes out and wins, we know they'll be in that position to get it done, as Rogers is the only driver that's safe so far. But Alex Coffey, he's had 19 stage points here tonight. That is really going to help that 7 machine. But he's riding on board with the 78 of Hossman. We've seen contact between these two already in the race. Maybe we'll see how the racing goes between them now. Is also you got Rogers, I think, pushing a little bit more this run, staying a little bit closer than that 17.
We've seen that 17 machine kind of slide down to the 6-7 position, kind of right out. But right now, with the beginning of this restart for stage 3, he has stayed on the bumper of the 78 in that 3rd position, making the pass on the 83 of Christopher Norris, and he looks like he is a man on the mission. And look at that, the 78 getting almost to the bumper of the 7 once again, as we saw earlier. But we're riding along with the 45 of Dallas Manis. He's on first, tries the 83 too, trying to make his way around just like that. Makes the pass into 4th position, so Dallas Manis doing really well for himself tonight.
Yeah, one of the teammates there at CNC Esports with Alex Coffey, along with TJ Roberts, they've definitely shown a lot of speed in that team here tonight. Now working his way up in that position. There's also right behind him, he's got Alexander Light, who's trying to take that spot from the 83 of Christopher Norris. And I tell you what, the battles have been very, very tough so far, but everybody looking to move their way to that higher groove. As you can see there, the battle between that 5th position between the 83 and the 05. As that continues on, they also got Adam Buzzio a few car lengths behind them. So this group here looking very, very strong here to start this run off. But we've seen a lot of drivers fall off as the run goes on. Will they be able to save and manage their equipment here on this run?
And that's kind of been the storyline of the night. We've noted how quickly new tires can overcome old tires, but those new tires don't last long with the speeds and the grip. All the forces that are, associated with Bristol Motor Speedway, as we see the 05 of Alexander Light overtake the 83 for that 4th position, or I'm sorry, the 5th position. We've noted all night long how quickly these tires fall off, and give it another 10 or so laps, and it's going to be another second off the lap times. It looks like the 83 and the 05 kind of maybe fighting hard against each other, with the 21 Adam Buzzio just stuck, only able to watch, needing some points, maybe not needing, as he was only he was 20 points above the cut line at the start of the race, but only looking to improve his position, as it looks like both of those cars fighting for the inside line. But don't look now, Johnny Shade needing a win to get in. He was a lap down, fighting his way towards the front now in 9th position. We mentioned Gregory Shaw, Zach, on a different strategy, and right now strategy seems to have kind of fallen in his favor, as he has one of the some of the newest tires on the track.
Yeah, some of the newest tires for sure, and this 51 I think also seems to be managing his stuff just a little bit right now, running slower than the drivers up ahead of him. Maybe feeling that this run may go longer like we've seen in that last stage, and that'll be his way to get his way back forward. So good call here from the 51 side of the camp. But we'll see, can he elect to do something here interesting, because again, he's on such a roll here. It seems like really these short tracks have really suited him here, and he's been able to really be in the podium position twice in a row.
And one thing, Zach, that kind of makes me think about this is you need a little more break in these short tracks. You need a little more break and just a little bit tender on the throttle. And the 51 seems to be smoother in terms of the brake and throttle. He seems to be able to roll the center of the corner better through Martinsville, through Phoenix, and right now in this 8th position here at Martinsville. He has had a couple of podium finishes, looking to try and cap that off. But you mentioned it, Zach. He looks to be maybe on a conservative mission as the caution comes out for the 5th time for incidents tonight. And I don't know exactly what that was. I see this 96 Steve Cole and the 77 of Kumanek in the middle of 1 and 2 having an issue But just like that, we're going to have a restart here coming up in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, and I believe it was all started here. As you see Kubinek involved in it. It all started with the 9 of Chad Bean and the 18 of Blaine Wilson. So tough break for those two, but we'll see on this instant replay. You'll get to see Steve Cole here. He's going to be a little bit of an innocent bystander here as they're wrecking up in front of him. He's going to try to get himself slowed down here. He sees Bean going up the racetrack into Kubinek, and now Cole really nowhere for him to go. He's going to come back up to this high side, but Dingler there in the Kubinek. This is going to close that high side off, and there, Steve T. Cole is going to go right directly into the passenger side door and bring out this caution. So, man, oh, man, tough break for a few cars that were a lap down battling for positions. But, man, it's it can happen that fast here at Bristol, and it just did with those two drivers. So, tough break for Kubinek, but he's going to have to try to manage his stuff. And you're going to see here, this hit he takes his Beans bouncing up the wall, and just nowhere to go for the 77, and just breaks that right front toe link or left front toe link, sorry. And you can see from there, he's just going down the racetrack, an innocent bystander right into Tyler Dingler. And it's just one of those things, Bristol, really nowhere to go when things happen because it's just not a very wide racetrack.
Not a very wide racetrack, but it's so very fast. We see the 69 unable to kind of blow that car up, Zach. And how difficult is that? You see cars spinning out in front of you. You don't want to slam on the brakes, because if you lock the brakes, it's almost like you're on a set of ice skates, because you almost make things worse. Not only can you not slow down, but then you lose control of the car, and the 69 unable to make anything work. But so as a driver, how do you kind of avoid and maybe possibly get out of that if you can?
Yeah, you almost have to react immediately. If you have any slight delay in your reaction here at Bristol and don't get your car slowed down without locking those brakes up, you're going to be in big trouble. And like we were talking about, it's not a wide track, but it's also, like you said, so fast. And when it's so fast, that just makes everything so much easier to get involved in, because the race things come at you so quickly. I mean, 14-second laps around a half a mile. When something happens right directly in front of you, I mean, it's only a split few seconds that you have to decide where to go and really the safe route out. And sometimes you just cannot find that route. So tough for those drivers to be involved in that, but we'll see how it all shakes out for them the rest of this race. But up at the top of our ticker, folks, you can see the flashing yellow lights there. That's our own iRacing iFlag here that we have on our ticker each weekend and week out. That flashes green and yellow, but you want to get your own visual flag system with 64 LEDs and one of the best iRacing really, equipment that you could use out there to really help you keep on top of the flag state out there on the racing track. You need to go head on over to iRacingIFlag.com and check out what they have in store for you there. As you can use our promo code you see on the screen there, FreakyFast2022, to get your of a discount at purchase, and you can stay on top of exactly what is going on in your race. So thank you to iRacing iFlag for being a proud sponsor here at Freaky Fast.
We love our sponsors helping us bring this action to you, the fans in the living room, being able to watch this wherever you're watching it. And we definitely got to give a shout out to the fans watching this. Love how all this community comes together, and it looks like the caution has been extended for one more lap, getting the field all together, making sure we have a fair restart. And just one more thing, as we are on lap 173 of 250, we have 78 laps to go here at Bristol. And Zach, I feel like we just started this race, but just now we're over halfway, almost 2/3 of the way through the race.
Yeah, it's crazy to say that, man. This has been a very, very strong race so far for a lot of people. But it just, with the amount of time we have left, there's still plenty of action to play out. And like we've seen, you're never safe here. I mean, even Hausman, who was running in the second position, got involved in something right directly ahead of him. We'll see how it all shakes out here as we get ready to go back green.
Getting ready to go green, and there it is, a green flag in the air. The 7 of Alex Coffey once again in a familiar position, leading the field through turn 1 and 2. But a little bit of shake up behind him. The 83, the 45, the 03, and the 13 of Ryan Harrison all behind him. I don't know what happened to the 78 of Mason Hausman. He might have taken some tires there on that last caution. But once again, strategy showing its hand here at Bristol Motor Speedway as the field goes green again.
Yeah, it really is, and I don't know what happened to Hausman. We were pacing around. He pulled low onto the racing on the apron, had to go back into pit road. He sat there for multiple laps. He's 4 laps down at this point, just pulling out of pit road now. That 78 is in a tough spot. I mean, the stage points were good for him, but he knows he needs whatever he can to stay in this top 4. Luckily for his sake, Blaine Wilson's had a tough night, who's in 2 positions up ahead of him, but with 3 cars a lap down ahead of him, it's going to be tough to get back in the lead lap here, especially with how short left we got in this races. You can see this racing action is not stopping. You got Adam Buzzio here in the 21 battling his teammate Blaine Wilson, who is right now 3 laps down to 14th. So he's going to make the pass on Buzzio and slide up the racetrack. Here comes Morales in the 91. He's 4 laps down, so these lap down cars looking to make up some ground on the lead lap cars.
And, very curious indeed. The 21 Adam Buzzio on the lead lap, trying to make his way forward, getting those points. But a teammate in himself, the 18 of Blaine Wilson, making it a little more difficult, putting the pressure on all these other lap down cars. Very interesting to see the strategy behind this. You see the 30 of TJ Roberts and the 24 Johnny Shade looking for a good run. Johnny Shade found himself a lap down earlier, and he's right now running in the top 10, trying to make pass, trying to get those points. But Johnny Shade needs a lot more help than that. He needs a win. Our Super Speedway ringer definitely needs a win here at Bristol Motor Speedway, trying to advance himself into the playoffs. Oh, and there's some contact up front in the field. The 69 and the 05 having some contact, forcing the 05 to go into the outside wall, and that is going to make the 05 lose a ton of time to the rest of the field. And just like that, the 69 causing some havoc up front in the field.
Yeah, definitely that contact there really hurting the 05 machines. Ooh, almost close there between him and the 3 machine, TJ Roberts there, as the 05 drops back here to that 8th position. And the time lost there was definitely on the bigger side there, as that 69 got up into him. And man, it just shows you at Bristol how fast things happen. When you do get slowed down by contact like that up into the wall, you can lose so much time. It's definitely one of those places that everything happens in a blink of an eye.
And in a blink of an eye as well, we have the 51 of Gregory Shaw in the top 3, but riding along with a 13 of Ryan Harrison. He's been kind of on the outside looking in, not in the playoff race tonight, but he has been either on the lead lap at the tail end or just 1 lap down. But right now he finds himself in the 11th position behind the 24 of Johnny Shade. Ryan Harrison has been able to keep himself up all up until through the playoffs, really. He was in that first round and kind of got knocked out, but right now with a strong top 10 showing, or at least trying to make the pass around the 24 of Johnny Shade.
Yeah, trying to make that happen, just could not. There is Ryan Harrison in his 13, drops back here. He's about in the 11th position on the lead lap. You got Chad Bean, also Blaine Wilson, Dallas Menace. They're all battling really hard back here for position. And while all this has happened, Gavin Rogers has opened up a 3-second lead up front. He's just charged to the lead and has now put Adam Buzzio a lap down in the 21 machine. This is very interesting to see here, as this race is just continuing to twist and turn.
Well, Zach, I'm looking at my tracker here. Gavin Rogers, Gregory Shaw have 33 lap pressure tires in the 7 of Alex Coffey. And then Christopher Norris, he was on last on pit road on 62 laps ago, then followed by Tyler Dangler of 23 laps. So we have been on it all night long about the strategy and the changes and the swings, ebbs and flows. And right now, the 17 didn't have quite the strongest qualifying we're used to seeing from Gavin Rogers, but right now, where we're used to seeing him in the lead of this pack with the freshest tires. So the 17, once again, finding himself in the catchpird seat, being able to lead this race.
Yeah, man, this would be interesting to see if Gavin Rogers can go out here, win this race tonight. That would give him big momentum, especially with, just the comeback story for him here. Is he's not been really too big of a factor all night. He's been kind of having a quiet night here in the 17, which is very unnormal from him, usually very much on the pace. But it just seems like this strategy's come back to really help him here, as he's opened up the gap to almost 6 seconds over Alex Coffey, as those new tires are really starting to show that they are just a huge, huge advantage around this Bristol Motor Speedway. And quickly, these guys who did not pit, they're going to be under threat, because Rogers is really gaining on all the back of the field. Alexander Light will be the next one to go lap down. He's right about halfway straightaway ahead of the leader. Then Dallas Manis, TJ Roberts, Johnny Shade. I mean, so many drivers, Christopher Norris, Nigel Christensen, all of them in position here, possibly to be going laps down with that leader really closing his way in.
And this is kind of what Gavin Rogers has done all season. Sometimes he'll be able to lead every lap, be on the pole, but like on nights like tonight, he is quietly working his way up to the front and using strategy to his advantage with the 05, trying to recover from earlier contact, and just like that, under attack from the 17 to Gavin Rogers. And it just makes me wonder, Zach, how much damage did he incur from that contact from the 69, because as he has fallen off way off the pace here in the latter parts of this race.
Yeah, looking at the right front of his car, it's definitely got a good portion of damage on that right front. And this racetrack, again, it's still very high speed, so that damage can have a very big effect, especially when it comes to tire wear, when you're not getting the most downforce out of that front end. So tough break from there, but it looks like now Dallas Manis also now goes a lap down, so that puts Alexander Light outside the lucky dog position, and that is going to be the key thing for a lot of these guys going lap down. They're going to hope maybe the timing of a caution here will come out as maybe they're that lucky dog, because that will be critical here. You see TJ Roberts, Christopher Norris, Johnny Shade about 2 seconds up ahead of them. These drivers are all under threat here of possibly going a lap down.
And that's what we need to fight for. There's so many different battles going on at a race like this. You have the cars that are already a lap down, trying to be the first car a lap down. You have the cars in front of them trying not to go a lap down, and then you have the leader trying to put all these cars a lap down. So that's what just makes Bristol such a unique race, such a fun race, high speed, high intensity, and then having this as a cutoff race to the championship. I just can't imagine, Zach, what these drivers are going through, how they're being able to manipulate the strategy, and just some drivers get it and some drivers don't, and sometimes it's just a flip of the coin, Zach. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not, and here we are seeing the result of that.
That we definitely are. I mean, somebody who's really probably saying, man, I wish I would have hit pit road, is probably that 7 Machine Coffee, who's now dropped outside back into the top 10. And Shade's even closing in on him there, as you got Harrison there, who was a lap down trying to look to get his way around. Johnny Shade now going to be going down the inside there. And then he'll be looking to take that top 5 position from Alex Coffey, who got great stage points. He came in here 10 points outside of the cut line. Those 19 bonus points really helped position him in a lot better position. But right now, running 5th, he should be good on points with this, but cannot have any major mistakes. Adam Buzzy on the 21, he's on pit road, and that's a major story, because guess what? He's one of the drivers who came in about a 15-point lead in the points. He's going to hit pit road here and go multiple laps down. This is very interesting to see from this group.
And that makes going to pit road under green here at Bristol so difficult. And that just goes to show, sometimes you got to plan your strategy early, and that just might not have worked. The 21 maybe hoping on a quick caution, as we've seen these last couple of races. In fact, 38 cautions between the last 2 races of Martinsville and Phoenix Raceway. But here at Bristol, we've only had 5 cautions for contact, 2 cautions for stage. And just like that, the whole complexion of the race changes for you. But looking at Nigel Christensen, he's one of those drivers who was on the cut line. He was 7 points behind Mason Houseman in 5th position as the race started. And just like that, we see him just trying to struggle, keeping himself in the run as he is in 4th position. But right now we have Gavin Rogers leading this race, Gregory Shaw in 2nd, and Tyler Dangler with multiple issues this race, sitting there in 3rd place. So just the way the strategy is planned out for these drivers has just been really interesting to see this race evolve.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the gap is closing down. Gavin Rogers has used his tires up. They fell off a cliff. The 51, the 69, both running almost about a half a second quicker a lap. They're within 3 seconds of them. This could be a battle for the lead in the next 10 to 15 laps here, with this 51, after multiple podium finishes, maybe looking to go out there and get his first victory here at the Wicked Racing League. And it's now down to 2.7 seconds. Rogers out front has really used the tires up, and even Tyler Dingler right behind this 51. Both of these drivers, the fastest cars, along with Johnny Shade on the racetrack. This strategy has been the money call.
Well, right now, the 17 has had to deal with about 3-lap cars, the 21 of Buzzio, the 18 of Wilson, and the 83 of Christopher Norris. All of these drivers trying to get their laps back, trying to fight back hard on the lead lap cars. And right now we see the 24 of Johnny Shade sitting there in 4th position. Another driver, a playoff driver, who needs a win to advance himself into the championship race. So right now, the 24 was a lap down earlier in the race, sitting really quietly in that 4th position. So Johnny Shade, not a driver to fall asleep on at the moment.
Definitely not one to fall asleep on. He has been the fastest car on the racetrack the last few laps also, so he's gaining. He's within 5 seconds of the lead now, but Gregory Shaw, it's down to under 1 second now. He is very close to Gavin Rogers, and Rogers struggling. I mean, a half a second slower a lap. This is going to be a battle for the lead in about 2 laps. It's Christopher Norris right here. He's right in the middle of this as Rogers has now changed his lineup to the bottom lane. This is going to be very spicy, folks. Here comes the 51.
And we've noted the spicy battles between the 83 and the 51 the past couple of laps. And just like that, as we ride on board the roof of the 51, the 17 struggling to maintain that speed. And just like that, the lead transfers to the 51 machine of Gregory Shaw. He's been building up to it this past couple of weeks, and right now, leading strongly here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
That is an amazing sight to see for him there, as it's all coming back around here with about 30 laps to go here at this racetrack. It's old Wilson on the apron there a little bit trying to get around this. Tyler Dingler, now we're on board with him. He's going to be coming up by his teammate Christopher Norris here. We'll make the easy pass on him, and now he'll set his sights on 2nd place. As what a run this would be for this 69 machine here for himself, as right there Rogers. I'm telling you, I'm actually concerned really for this 17 machine. You know, Bristol is not a place where I would be surprised to see a tire blowout, and even a right front tire. And from what I'm seeing, that car is just deadly tight on him right now. He may have some tire issues here by the end of this race. This is going to be an interesting sight to see. And I tell you what, another driver who's loving the side of this is Alex Coffey, as he's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack also, as those tires have started to even out for him.
Zach, I was talking to some of these drivers earlier, and they were mentioning how much practice time the 17 is getting. He's one of the more consistent drivers showing up for practice week in, week out. And it's just kind of shocking seeing him fall back this late in the run. The 17 lacking that speed at the moment, but right now we're watching the 05, the 6, the 9, the 45 the 7, the 45 and the 05 all trying to get along. Alex Coffey making his way through some of this lap traffic, getting those points, now in 5th position, trying to keep his head above water in the points. But there is the 45 getting into the outside wall, outside of 4. And just like that, Zach, you see these tires starting to wear, and there is a caution. The 45 in the middle of 1 and 2.
Yeah, the 45 there, unfortunate for Dallas Manis, but this is going to be a caution he probably didn't want to see. And I don't know if he was making the decision to come to pit road, but actually, man, he made the decision to come to pit road. I'm not sure if the right rear was already broke from the hit to the wall there coming off of turn 2, but the right rear suspension was broke coming into that corner, and just there was no saving that machine. So unfortunate break for him there. But I tell you what, Gregory Shaw did not want to see that also. This right here is not what the 51 wanted, because, man, what a drive there to get back to that lead here. Now him and Tyler Dingler, they're going to have to hold off Rogers, Christensen, Coffey, and along with Shade, as that's our 6 drivers on the lead lap.
And this is going to be interesting, Zach. You mentioned the tire wear on the 17. So this may come to a restart between the 51 and the 69. And it looks like the 51 coming in for tires. Unbelievable with 24 laps to go. But he's not going to be the only one. The 69 is going to follow him in. The 13 of Ryan Harrison. Unbelievable. A lot of the field coming in for tires.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised by this. They personally, I mean, if you got a set, you need to use it now, because this is, I mean, one of those tracks that just where is every single thing. And with this call here, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it all plays out for these drivers, because, man, oh man, it's going to get mixy here. These drivers are going to be able to push really all out here all the way to the end and not really have to save nothing because of how short this run is.
Oh, this run is going to be about 20 laps. Is, you know, we've seen. I think that was actually quite possibly the longest run of the night. So it's a lot of tires. We saw them go through a life cycle, and we'll see if any mistakes happen on pit road, overshooting pit road, speeding, which would be absolutely killer right now. But the 17 of Gavin Rogers, unbelievably out there, sitting in the the lead position, wondering what happened there. It looks like Gregory Shaw had a shorter pit stop, so I don't know how this is going to work, but looks like the 69 of Tyler Dangle had a longer pit stop of 14.3 seconds. So many different things happening all at once here at the late end of the run.
Yeah, this is. I tell you what, we had a barn burner of a finish there at Martinsville. Get prepared because Bristol is about to get very, very energetic here in this moment. And Johnny Shade in second here needs a win. What will he do here? He does have. It looks like he's finally got his nose damage picked up, so I think he used his fast repair on this latest stop, and I think that's a smart call here in this 24. He's got 2 wins this season at Atlanta and, you know, at the other super speedway also, so just done a really good job there. But here at the shortest track, now trying to pull off what he's done at some of the biggest tracks. So we'll see if he has something. Gavin Rogers also going to have the 7 of coffee, who's been lights out all night.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't turn your TV, your computer, anything. This is going to be an electrifying finish. This is the 24. Johnny Shade needs a win to get in. But right now, the field in the hands of the 17. It gets a launch, but not quite the launch we're used to seeing, as looks like the 24, the 7, the 51 all trying to follow him. The 17 fast on the short run, but definitely fell off towards the end. Only 20 laps to go, but already another caution. Looks like the 20 of Nigel Christensen is going to spin on turn 4 and bring out another caution, and we're going to bring up another restart.
Yeah, and I believe that was contact from the 83 Christopher Norris, a non-playoff driver. Looks like 2 drivers going for the same real estate on this racing surface, and oof, that's only going to make this a little bit more interesting now, as this next restart is going to re-rack them all back up. Rogers going to be in position here, and man, he's going to have coffee on his outside most likely. Johnny Shade now going to be able to restart 3rd. Shaw is still in 4th. Tyler Dingler in 5th, and with that, with Christensen, he was the car on the lead lap. So luckily for him, he stays in the 6th position, but that spin definitely not helping those tires for him, as I believe it should give Alexander the light. Also, the lucky dog, as that was contact made between the 83 and 20, so that takes away that lucky dog position from the 83. Now Alexander Light has a chance to go up here and battle for a top 5, even top 3, maybe even possibly a win.
And here we are, you know, almost a battle of the teammates. The 51, the 05 teammates. We see the 24 and the 7 all together. The 17 of Gavin Rogers kind of on his own. And this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out, as we only have 7 drivers on the lead lap at the moment. So really 7 drivers vying for this win with 17 to go. Looks like, I think we will go green with roughly 15 laps to go. Everyone has fresh tires. Everyone has plenty of fuel left here. So we are... we thought it was electrifying before, Zach. It is about to get super spicy.
Yeah, if I was ever to use the word spicy, it's about to be now, because this ending here, it has all the ingredients to be an amazing and wild finish at that. So, you know, the 17, he probably knows, you know, what's on the line here for a lot of these guys. He's locked in. He knows Coffee, Johnny Shade are going to be going for everything they possibly can here to get their best possible finish to help them move on, and a win would be that guarantee for him. So I think the 17's got to expect something to happen here. And, you know, another thing for him, I don't think he wants to probably, you know, be anywhere in a position to take something away from somebody, because if that was to play out, then, you know, that would be a situation where he goes into Charlotte maybe with a couple enemies.
And you don't want to have enemies going into a championship race. We kind of touched on it earlier, Zach, where if you make an enemy, you know that other driver will not be afraid to give you the bumper, shove you out of the way. And Charlotte in this next gen car, believe it or not, even though it is a mile-and-a-half track, can be very tricky, especially that turn 4. That turn 4 is so very loose at Charlotte, and we can see how that plays out next week. But right now, They're going side by side, getting ready for another restart, and we're going to go green with 14 laps to go.
Yeah, this is gonna be wild here, folks. So don't like Carl said, don't tune away from whatever you're tuning into, because this is going to be the finish that maybe upsets a few people, maybe excites a few people. You never know how these Bristol races, short track races, play out, but they'll have 14 quick laps around this half mile to figure it all out.
And here we go. The little pace car coming out of turn 4, taking the pit lane, and all these top 6 drivers all on top of each other. And Gavin Rogers with a great restart, and almost with a better restart, Johnny Shade was able to time that perfectly. The 51 cannot get to the bumper of the 7 to give him a push. In fact, he goes to the inside line to take that position away. And here we are, green again with 14 laps to go.
Oh, and Gregory Shaw back coming off of turn number 4 there, got a little bit loose. That gives the position to Coffee there. He takes over third, Shade in second. But with 13 laps coming to 12 to go, you could blink your eyes and this race will be over. If you're one of the drivers who needs to win, you are trying everything in your power to get yourself up there in the nick of time. But with only 12 laps, that will happen so quick. And there it is, caution out on the speedway. And this is similar things that happen on a lot of short tracks at the end of these races. Everything goes wild, and it looks like TJ Roberts was the one who made a mistake and just got loose coming off of turn 4, got up and into Blaine Wilson and also Adam Buzzio, who are 2 drivers fighting to get in the playoffs. This is a tough break for those guys, but also this makes it tough on Alex Coffey again, because guess what? This takes away some of the time from him and Johnny Shade, where Shade's going to have to restart on the outside in probably the worst position.
And Shade has such a great restart, being able to trail the 17, able to time that restart. In fact, that might have been possibly one of the best restarts I've ever seen from someone behind the 17. So this is going to be definitely interesting, as the 24 will line up on the outside. But that also makes things interesting for the 7, like you mentioned, Zach, of Alex Coffey, for the 51, for the 69, for the 20 of Nigel Christensen. All of these drivers in the top 6 looking to gain points. And in fact, in the top 6, the only driver not in the playoffs is the 51 and the 69. So these drivers all racing for a win here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And Zach, this place is living up to its name. This is a great coliseum for these gladiators to be battling it out in.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times when gladiators battle, it's usually to the death. And unfortunately, there might be a few drivers not ending this race here, even if they are up in this position, because again, anything can happen. It's Bristol, baby. And when you're at Bristol, things just go sideways very quickly. And, you know, I think Rogers in a good position here. He's going to have control of the restart. That's what you want to have. But, man, oh, man, it's going to be a tough one. But before we get going green, we definitely got to give a quick shout-out to our remaining sponsors here, and that will be the Admin Box, folks. If you ain't checked out Admin Box, make sure you go and do it. One of the best button boxes out there, not only for driver functionality, but also race control functionality, as it allows you to control the race very well as an admin here in all your events you want to hold. So make sure you head on over to adminbox.com, use the discount code FFB/BOXX, and you can get yourself a discount there at purchase. And thank you to AdminBox, because it's race control at your fingertips. And also, while you're at it, go check out our merch there at Store Frontier at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as it's some of the best merch out there, as we got hoodies and sweat and t-shirts here for the winter season that will help keep you warm. So make sure you head on over there and check out all of our merch and become part of the Freaky Fast family.
You definitely want to stay warm. We have the time change this past weekend. Night falls quicker now. Make sure you bundle up with a Freaky Fast hoodie. You will be part of the family, and you'll be able to keep supporting us through whatever you can do, being able to bring help us bring this action-packed racing to you. And right now the drivers are 1 to go side by side, 7 to go now, but we are going to go green with 6 laps to go. Zach, we have a sprint on our hands.
That we do, Carl. It is definitely a sprint, if there ever was a way to describe an ending of a race. These drivers ain't gonna have much time to think. They're gonna have to act and just do. There's not gonna be much time to say, well, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. No, you got to do what you can here. 7 laps to go, coming to 6. It's going to be a blink of an eye finish here.
And in a blink of an eye, we will see the pace car take a hard left dive into pit lane. His lights are off. The field is in the hands of the 17 of Gavin Rogers. We all know what he can do with the restart. Oh no! The 24 of Johnny Shea tried to anticipate it and totally mistimed that. That may be a black flag. We'll have to see later. But right now, as we're watching, the 51 in 4th position, trying to chase down arguably the fastest car on the track tonight, the 7 of Alex Coffey. There seems to be very little space that he can do, but right now, 5 laps to go. Johnny Shade in the wall, and another caution. The 69 of Tyler Dangler is in the wall and spun around in turn 1. So the 69 having a rough night here at Bristol.
Yeah, it was going so well after that last ending stage. After putting the tires on, was looking to maybe be in a second place position at the end of this race. Now, going to have to settle for less as he just lost it coming out of 4. And these cars, on the first couple laps getting up to speed, you got to be very delicate. It's very loose on the first 3 to 4 laps while the tires build up heat. I think these guys are just pushing, all out, trying to do whatever they can to get as many positions. And when something like that happens, you easily make those mistakes. Johnny Shade hard into the outside wall for himself. He's got a broken toe link, so he's got to bring that car in. I mean, just multiple drivers involved in this. This is Blaine Wilson's car. He's got the required damage flag. So just tough breaks here for a lot of guys. But it's going to be another restart here, Carl, and I believe this one might bring us into overtime possibly.
You know what, Zach? I think you're right. This may, especially on that last yellow flag lap, may bring us into that green-white checkered. And the trend that we've seen the past 3 weeks, Martinsville, all 3 green-white checkers. Phoenix Raceway, almost all 3 green-white checkers. And here we are, Bristol, the last great Coliseum, another green-white checkered. So this playoff racing has lived up to its name. Action-packed, exciting, and just another mix-up of the field. The 69 of Tyler Dangler was definitely working himself up there, but unfortunately unable to close the deal with some damage. And it looks like we have some odd, interesting incidents with the one of Mike Thomas there, parking it on the front straightaway. So we will have to see what that's about. But right now, these drivers looking to start their first of 3 green-white checkered overtime finishes.
And I tell you what, it very well could possibly take all of them here. As we've seen already a lot of crazy action here so far. But this time, Coffey going to have to restart in the 2nd position. That is the worst spot to restart, personally, on these restarts. You want to be, most likely, if you're not in the lead, you want to be in that 3rd place position to have that chance to go to the bottom there on the start of this, restart. But we've seen Johnny Shade. He tried to, time that restart, get the jump there. It didn't really work out for him. He had to lift and back down. But if you're able to time it just right and you can go in the corner side by side with that leader, Gavin Rogers, putting it on that door, that will be a possible way to make that pass. I think Coffey here is going to be trying to get the best restart of his possible life here to get this win.
And we have arguably the fastest 2 cars at the front of this field. So this is going to be a very electric finish, or at least restarts here for our first green-white checkered, seeing the 7 and the 17. And Zach, this is not anything different we've seen. The 7 and the 17 have battled each other all year long, and now it comes down to this, as the 7 and the 17 are actually the 7 definitely needs some help, but with those 2 stage finishes, doing really well for himself in the points department. The Gavin Rogers knowing he has that win, but here we are down the back straightaway, getting ready to go green again.
Yeah, I think Coffey sits in a very safe position when it comes to points. But he doesn't want to get involved in anything to take him out of, a good top 10 finish. Luckily for him, there's so many people lap down that is very likely that he'll get a good finish. But we'll have to see here, folks. Buckle down because it's the first attempt at a green-white checker.
And here we go once again. The pace car down pit road. Hands again in the field of the 17. The 17 gets a great launch. Complete car lengths in front of Alex Coffey. In fact, the 51 of Gregory Shaw being able to take that 2nd position away, but not for long. Alex Coffey charging hard on the outside.
Oh no, and the 20 of Christensen, he gets loose right in front of the 83. He spins it around, but the white flag is already on the racing surface as they're going to complete. This time it's the freaky fast white flag, I believe.
freaky fast white flag, whatever flag flies next will finish the race. We have the 17, the 7, the 51, the 05, the 83, all in the top 5 looking to take it. There it is. That's the finish of the race, ladies and gentlemen, just like that. The 17, the 7, and the 51 finishing this race. The 7 needing points, and he was able to capitalize on stage and race finish here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Zach, 250 laps flew by just like that, and there it is, a very familiar sight here at the Wicked Racing League. The 17 doing his burnouts across the start-finish line. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We will be right back, being able to talk to our top 3 finishers and talk to them not only how this race has gone, but what they're looking forward to next week in the championship race. So stay tuned. We will be right back with post-race interviews. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After 254 laps, we have finally determined our top 3 finishers tonight. In fact, we're going to start with our 3rd place finisher, the 51 of Gregory Shaw. Greg, it is Carl and Zach up in the booth. This is the 3rd time in a week we've talked to you. You seem to have these short tracks locked down. You were leading a little bit. What did you need there to catch Gavin at the end?
Same thing as always. I think with needing a green flag run, Gavin and Alex, a lot of those guys have a lot of the short run speed. I don't possess that. I learned over the course of the race how to save tires. At the beginning, I was pretty terrible at it, so I think we just needed that to go green instead of having the yellows. But we were able to hold off Nigel there, so it works.
Yeah, Greg, I tell you what, man, that was a great run here tonight, and man, it's so close to a victory there. If it would have just stayed green for you, that was looking very, very strong. Take us through the strategy because it seemed like you were always on the aggressive with the strategy, and man, it really came back and played it out in your favor. If that caution even wouldn't have came out, it looked like you probably would have went on to win this race.
Yeah, I was thinking just kind of playing the whole disrupt the points game. Um, I knew the last two yellows before the stages were about 10 laps or 20 laps before the stage. It was enough to come get tires and hope for a yellow mid stage, or even run out the whole second stage like I did and go a lap down and just hope for the best. We happened to get lucky because Alex has tremendous speed and he lapped, I think, the majority of the field before second stage concluded, and we were able to get our lap back. And then we had that late yellow, took tires. I think we came down with two other people that were on the lead lap, and we were able to catch up just doing a tire saving run. And then we had that final set that we took of stickers back when everybody else pit. And yeah, we had the long run speed, had a great car, but you know, couldn't put off in the end. But glad for a podium again.
Well, we go into Charlotte next week, a championship race. How do you balance your aggressiveness between the championship racers and not being in the playoffs yourselves? How do you balance that going into next week?
Same way I've been kind of looking at the last. I know I don't have the best reputation with my aggressive driving. So for a lot of it is just looking out for those yellow banners. Obviously, next week there's only going to be 4 of them, and they're going to be giving it their all to see who's going to come out ahead. I'm not sure if it's going to be a somebody has to win to get it, depending on what the point standings looks like after this, or if it's going to be the same thing as what we saw in the Rio NASCAR Phoenix race, where the highest banner wins. So I'm just going to drive like I've been these last couple races. I see yellow, I'm going to try to avoid them, but I'm still going to give it my best and try to put my name in there.
Well, your best has given you 3 top 3 finishes in a row. Any fans you want to shout out to tonight?
Honestly, just you guys and the sponsors on the car, like always. I mean, I feel like you and Zach are my good luck charm. Every time I come here, you guys are always hoping to see me back, and somehow we keep coming back. It's a very competitive league, and I enjoy being in it. But One Shot Energy, Limitless, Get Wet Sports, Cosmic Candles, Gamer Sleeves, they do a fantastic job to be able to get the car running, and hopefully next season we'll be able to do better with having guys in the box with us.
Well, you have definitely made the last half of this season exciting. Good luck next week at Charlotte.
Thank you, guys.
And that was our third place finish of the 51 of Gregory Shaw. Up next is the 7, Alex Coffey. And Alex, it's Carl and Zach up in the booth. You arguably had the fastest car on the short run. You did really well recovering from an earlier mistake. What did you need here later on in the run to be able to catch the 17?
Just a few green flag laps, I think. Those cautions were really. Leader gets such a jump on the restart. It's hard in a 2-lap run to make anything happen without doing something crazy. So I think if we would have had a little green run it there at the end, we would have battled it out. But Gavin was quick those last few tire runs too. So it would have been interesting. I think I had some for him on the long run speed, but short run I was so loose. I was having to take it easy.
Yeah, I tell you what, Alex, though, what a performance here tonight, man. After being involved in that incident to start the race, coming back, winning that stage, getting second in the next one. I mean, just a really great performance from you after a tough break there at Phoenix last week. I mean, this should have done enough, in my opinion, to move you on to that Final Four, man. But, take us through this race because it seemed like it was just all over the place, having to stay up with the strategy and up and down, just all types of incidents.
I like the longer lap count races because it does open the door for more strategy type stuff and all that. But yeah, that bump from Mason early, it got me loose. I bobbled. I kind of caught it, and then as soon as I went back to get back off the corner, I don't know if he hit me again or not, but I just looped it. I took blame for it and all that. So, but I mean, it gave me the the determination to go go back up there and race a little extra hard after that. So I don't. I'm not mad at Mason or nothing. It's all hard racing at Bristol. I know how it goes.
Well, that was Bristol racing tonight. Next week, we have hard championship racing at Charlotte. You look like to be in a good position to race for your championship. What can we expect from you next week?
Oh yeah, I can. I'm decent at Charlotte. I haven't ran there recently, and I know these cars have gotten a lot of changes in the last few months. So probably putting in a lot of practice, getting ready for it. I know there's other guys, the other top four, whoever they may be, I haven't quite seen the points yet. I'm not even sure if I'm in yet, but I know it'll be a good race. I know they'll put in a lot of practice, and we'll all give it our all. See how we come out. Hopefully, luck's on our side.
Well, I can guarantee we are excited to see you race for a championship. I know you have fans out there excited to see you as well. Who you want to shout out to tonight?
Shout out my mom. I know she's watching. Shout out my teammates, Dallas and TJ. They were arguably top 5 speed cars all night. Just got caught in some bad luck. I know a lot of people got caught in stuff tonight, all through the field. So, yep, shout out to them. Shout out for y'all for broadcasting, and shout out to Rev. He's not here tonight because the storm's down there in Florida. So, everybody, send a quick thought and prayer to Rev, and we'll get after him next week.
Well, congratulations. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you in the winner's circle for that championship race.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
And that was our second place finisher of Alex Coffey. But one driver we're used to talking to here at the Wicked Racing League is Gavin Rogers. Hold on just one moment. Gavin, it is Carl up here in the booth. Was that called your 7th win of the season? You already locked yourself into the championship race last week, but here you are. You kind of held back there towards about, the second stage, and then you made a charge to the front. Tell us the thought process behind that.
Yeah, I thought I was really just trying to save my tires at the beginning, but I guess I wasn't because Alex had something on the long run, so it was just really hoping something happened where I could make some sort of crazy strategy and get lucky like I did there at the end and get tires for that last long run and go by Alex. And then a few guys blew past me because I killed my tires. So I was kind of fine in the spot where I was, and I got even luckier with the final caution and get fresh tires. And I knew I had the short run speed, so I gave it all I had, and I was able to get it done from it. 3-peat.
Yeah, like you said, 3-peat, Gavin. Congrats on that, man. 7th win also of the season. Now you go off to Charlotte next week competing for a championship. Do you think it's going to take a win there next week to win that championship?
I'm pretty confident it's going to be for the win there. Just do what I've been doing there, really, just not there, but do what I've been doing here in the league, and hopefully we can get that championship like my man Logano did.
Definitely want to take after your Ford prodigy, as it were, as I see you racing that Mustang. But before we let you go and celebrate your win, Gavin, any fans you want to shout out to tonight?
Yeah, my whole family, my parents, grandparents, great-grandfather, aunts, cousins, my brothers, karting teammates, Gio, David, their families, sponsors, Jet Set Magazine, Printed Pieces, and Sundance Pizza. And you guys as well. It's so awesome to have your fast broadcast doing our races here, and excited for what's next.
Well, we can guarantee up here in the booth, we're excited to see what is next week at Charlotte as you race for that championship. So, but until then, congratulations on the win and good luck next week.
Thank you guys. Let's go get it.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely looking to try and capitalize on this momentum. The winningest driver here at the Wicked Racing League. It all comes down to the race next week. And as we pull up our grid, you see who won. Obviously, Gavin Rogers, Alex Coffey, Gregory Shaw rounding out the podium. Alexander Light in that 4th position after starting 19th. Christopher Norris in the 83, finishing 5th. Tyler Day Spangler in 6th, Nigel Christensen in 7th, Adam Buzzio a lap down in 8th, Chad Bean in 9th, and TJ Roberts rounding out the top 10. Mason Houseman finishing 5 laps down, not necessarily needing a good run, but definitely had some good runs in this stage, falling short on the race finish. Johnny Shade finishing there in 14th, needing a win. He will not advance to the championship race next week. And Zach, speaking of next week, we have 4 drivers racing for the Wicked Racing Series Buttkicker Cup Series, reigning for that championship, the first ever. How important is it going to be for these drivers next week?
Oh man, this is a huge moment to be the inaugural champion of the Wicked Racing League. And Charlotte Motor Speedway, pretty much the home of NASCAR. A lot of experience for a lot of these drivers at that racetrack. It's gonna be very interesting to see. We know Gavin Rogers is locked in with his 3 in a row wins here now. We'll have to find out as we enter that race next week at Charlotte who the other 3 competitors are. But I tell you what, with the 8 drivers that were already in it to start off with here in this last part, it's going to be super exciting to see who is the other 3 joining Gavin Rogers, because it's going to be a stacked group of drivers. And Charlotte, it gives opportunities for drivers. You know, Bristol tonight is such a tough niche track, as I would say. It's very tough to save the tires. You can feel like you're saving them, and sometimes you're not. And I mean, even heard a winner tonight say he just couldn't figure out that longer run, but it was the short run that came back to win it for him here tonight. We may see similar things play out at Charlotte, but I tell you what, nonetheless, it's going to be a great race, and we're going to get the crown of champion. One of my favorite things to see done in league racing. It's always a pleasure to see someone get that excitement of, getting, achievement in your life that you'll probably remember for the rest of your life.
And you definitely looking forward to championship racing. That's just kind of what this playoff format brings. But race fans, ladies and gentlemen, you won't miss a moment. You got to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can find us on Facebook, obviously YouTube, TikTok, even Twitter. You name it, we are on it. And you won't miss a moment if you just follow us on those social media sites. But definitely want to give a shout out to those Floridians down there braving. I saw earlier today it got upgraded to a Category 1 hurricane, so I hope everyone is staying safe. But I guess I will just amend that to my normal sign off here from Freaky Fast is everyone, especially in Florida, you guys stay safe, stay strong, and y'all stay freaky fast.